welcome back, everybody. I hope you had some scintillating conversation at the tables, if you were able to get to the tables or in the chat. Before we start this second session, Jennifer had a really good question, and Bruce is going to answer that question.
So I think everybody hopefully saw in the chat, or please take a look at it. Jennifer had a great question about Chewy and online pharmacies and kind of the struggle there, right? And so her suggestion, she says, we use VetSource online and sign up clients for that. That's great. There are a number of choices out there in the space. But if we look at what's going on with prescriptions in veterinary medicine, you know, the early days, contact lenses was one of the earlier change makers, I would say. So you used to have to go to your eye doctor to get a prescription for contact lenses and buy them from them. And then that changed. And then we had PetMed come on the scene that Dr. East mentioned, and PetMed changed that paradigm, right? And said, well, you don't have to get your prescription from your veterinary practice. And so those changes we're not going to be able to stop. So my only point is, I'm not trying to frustrate people. What I'm trying to say is, let's embrace this change. If there are platforms out there that make it easier for our staff to work, and I know there's a program now that I don't know a lot about where Chewy is actually paying veterinary practices a percentage. I don't know the percentage. I don't know the details, but that's just another option out there. And so I'm just putting it out there to say we need to give clients the choice. And if you give clients the choice, even if they can buy it from another outlet that's not your practice for potentially, for example, $4 or $5 less, people will buy local, and they will embrace the fact that you've been transparent with them and said, we have an online pharmacy. We have a brick and mortar in-clinic pharmacy. You can buy it from us, but Mrs. Smith, if you want to take this script and go to Chewy or PetMeds, here you go. You can do that. And that is the good feeling and the goodwill we can instill in clients that will keep that business in your practice. But it is about giving choice.
Yeah, agree. And we can't compete. I mean, private practitioners cannot compete with online pharmacies. We just can't, like the big Amazon, Chewy, PetMeds, that kind of thing. We just can't compete. And it's hard for veterinarians who are, used to being the end all, the be all end all, and this is where you get your stuff from and get it from us. But we have to change, and we have to change our mindset.
Yeah. And Dr. Good, a comment I would have there is that my colleagues that are experts in practice management are all consistently recommending, as everybody on this call I hope knows, focus on your professional fees, your professional service fees. Don't focus on your pharmacy. Offer an online pharmacy. Offer, of course, a pharmacy in the clinic, but to focus on what you went to school for and your professional fees, and you will rise above because you're doing that.
Well, and I personally, when all of this started way back when, I've been in practice for over 30 years now, so
yeah,
that's the white hair. At first I was kind of nervous about the whole, or they're going to take away my business and this and that. But then I came to realize, as you said, we make we're in it to help the patients, first of all, and we really make our money from practicing medicine, not from being a pharmacist and selling food and selling drugs. So over the years, I, started being okay with writing prescriptions and that kind of thing. And then recently did partner with an online pharmacy, one of the bigger online pharmacies, veterinary online pharmacies. And that's been so great because now I don't have to carry all that inventory, which really frees us, frees my inventory specialists. We still have inventory, obviously, because we do carry medications and small amount of food so that we can, if they want to come and take something with them right away, right after their appointments, they can. But we were able to, take that space and use it for something else, because we don't have to use such a huge amount of space. And it is so much easier. But to your point too, when you were talking about like all the faxes coming in, I mean, we still deal with that, and that's still a pain, but I feel like it's important to give my clients that choice. So when the faxes or the emails come in from Chewy or Pet Meds, my team just finds the chart and puts it in one of the doctor's boxes, and we go through and we sign off on it or don't, if it is appropriate or not appropriate.
Yeah. So. Well, I think you hit on a great point there, Cheryl, we need to practice medicine, right? And obviously through the process of practicing medicine and practicing quality medicine, obviously there's going to be that pharmaceutical intervention, that nutritional intervention in those disease processes, right? So in not focusing on being that pharmacy, but providing what's needed in those cases for patients, for the therapeutic success, right? For that patient and patient well-being. And I like what you said too about the carrying what you need. I always tell people, I'm like, you separate what you carry in hospital, especially when you talk about nutrition, into your acute versus your chronic, right? Perfect example is GI, right? What do you carry? You're going to send home canned GI food, right? Whether it's Royal Canin or one of the other companies, you send home the GI food. That could just be an acute case, whatever, a week or whatever, that dog's better or cat's better. But then you have your chronic pancreatitis. That's something you need a low-fat food long-term.
Right.
So why carry large bags of GI low-fat in your practice when you could just put them on a subscription?
Yeah, and we do not have large bags.
Yeah.
So
you may send home. You may send home that first small bag or those first few cans, but once you have that diagnosis, it's like, hey, this is, Fluffy's going to need to be on this long term. I can have this shipped straight to your house.
Right.
It's very easy, right? And that's what you do. And then you don't have to carry it. Your staff doesn't have to unbox the material and then stock it on shelves, which take a whole ton of space. That could be an exam room, right? So there's a lot of ways that we can leverage online pharmacies and keep it very much in tune and in line with our medicinal goals, right? For therapeutics.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Good, a comment I would have there is to build on all the discussions. We have to take a step back many times and think about the pet parent and their experiences with their own health care, right? And so when we go to see our doctors say to us, like mine did recently, Bruce, you need to be on Lipitor, right? What's your pharmacy? What pharmacy do you use? It wasn't, well, if you buy it from me today, I can give you 50% off, or a buy 6, get 1 free or whatever. It was, what's your pharmacy? So especially our new pet parents, we have so many new pet parents right now because of the pandemic and all of the new pets. Their experience, they think, is similar to their own experience, where the pharmacy, they just ask you which pharmacy. So having an in-practice pharmacy allows you to offer up, hey, you can order it from my in-practice, my online pharmacy, or whatever pharmacy you want. And the other additional benefit, I haven't seen any studies on this, but I think there's probably some data out there. When we separate invoices, we have one transaction that's in clinic, and that's for your exams, your vaccines, and then you have a separate transaction that's through a veterinary online pharmacy, or another one that's for your preventatives and other medications. boy, the visit becomes very affordable, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So this is perfect, because what I'm going to do now is send everyone to the tables. And those of you in the chat, I really do want us blowing up the chat on this one, because I want everyone's view on, based on what Bruce and what Dr. East and Dr. Cheryl have been saying, what do you think the future looks like? Because that's the real point, right? Where are we going from here? What does this actually look like? So I'd love for everyone to start putting in, what do you think the future of online pharmacies really looks like in practice? And let's start